I personally think we're going to have to move to a UBI world where just being an American citizen is the right to have some stability of life, just like being a Norwegian because they have the oil is, and that we're going to have to turn the recipients of that UBI from welfare queens into Americans to say, hey, that's just part of being America. But I think we've got to be able to give it to people directly because they know how to spend it instead of shoving it through these big bureaucratic city and state and federal government bureaus that seem to waste it.
Give a type of money that can only be spent for a specific number of reasons. And some worry about that state control or whatever, but like in this particular narrow use case, you want to give checks to individuals to get the economy moving again. Yeah. So if you think of programmable money that expires if you don't spend it,
who knows, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand them a little crypto check, right? We'll hand them a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
If the president walks away from the war with Iran now, the threat to shipping in the Strait of Hormuz will remain. Despite the obvious risk, he has every reason to try to finish the job. Nouriel, good morning.
Good morning.
And good luck as well, to explain the last few days. What is the status of things in your mind, and where do you think this is heading?
Well, there are two options. One is to de-escalate and walk away from this war and get to a ceasefire. But they're going to get a ceasefire without a deal with Iran, and Iran's going to control the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to threaten the Gulf and the supply of oil. You have a regime that is actually much more radical today than it was before, because Muqtada Khamenei's son is more radical than his father. They're going to rebuild ballistic missiles. They're going to build even more drones. They're going to even try to enrich the uranium they have to weapon grade and have a bomb. So it's a disaster. Trump is already behind in the polls. This war has been a bit of a failure. But now going away from it implies he's going to for sure lose the midterms, not just the House, but probably the Senate. So I think that in spite of all the rhetoric about negotiations and getting a ceasefire, my more likely scenario, I give it a 2/3 probability, is one in which the U.S. has to escalate and finish the job. And escalate means take over Kharg Island, trying to take over even the Strait of Hormuz, try to reopen it, try to have regime collapse, and win this war, and finally have a more stable Middle East. It's a very risky one, because if you take that chance, you might win, but there's also a chance that you lose, and then they beat they block even more Hormuz, they destroy even more energy supplies of the Gulfies, and then you end up in 1970s stagflation. But in my view, escalating and winning is more likely than escalating and losing. And given the politics and the electoral dynamics, he'll have to escalate.
Taking the fight directly to the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Iran has been a source of violence and mayhem, has claimed American lives and lives of our allies, and sown its malign influence across the region for 47 years. So I'm proud of our troops. I'm also proud that President Trump pulled the trigger and made the decision to move against Iran. To simply cannot allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon, but to be able to hit the regime and simply say that the time of you sowing terror across the region are over, I think was action whose time has come.
What Iran has showed is that in this kind of asymmetric warfare, with a relatively small number of drones and missiles, they can continue to wreak havoc on the global economy by threatening shipping in the Strait of Hormuz and holding the rest of the world hostage. And they're counting on the fact that this pain will affect us more than them, and that they can continue to export their oil. In fact, they're getting higher prices for it now. Now the sanctions have been lifted on the oil that's on the seas, as is Russia. And so their view is all they have to do is survive. The U.S. has to win. And that's a very asymmetric kind of conflict.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you go join the Patreons. We are getting event after event. You cannot make this stuff up. You want to stay up to date with these NWO events. It will affect your pockets whether you know it or not. And then also, if you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're donating to the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok, more videos to come. And right now, I want you to stop, hit the like button, share this video everywhere, and don't forget to subscribe. And guess what? All three of those are free. Yes, you cannot make this stuff up. Free of charge. Now we have Mike Novogratz says that universal basic income is definitely going to be needed. And we know Mike Novogratz is a Goldman Sachs guy. He knows these machines are about to take over and the people are going home. Humanity is coming out of the workforce. And right now we see the two economies running side by side. But the legacy market is falling right in front of our eyes. If you want to see it, you see it falling right in front of our eyes. But we know the sheep stay focused on things that don't matter. And by the time they wake up, the fourth industrial revolution is going to be here, and they'll be headed inside the metaverse. And get that programmable universal basic income, where they're told what, when, and how to buy, and they have 3 to 6 months to spend it, or poof, it's gone. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Trump speaking on Iran, did not say much. And he wasn't the only president that addressed his nation. Guys, remember, this is a plan that moves in phases. And when it comes to the mainstream media, that's all they've given us is the boogeyman. Iran has a nuclear weapon, even though we've told on so many occasions they don't have one. We already obliterated it. Trump is going to leave these drums are beaten wide open, so therefore they can come back to it. And eventually the two superpowers are going to collide. China versus the United States. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Robini and Pence, like I stated, the puppets, giving the same message. That the boogeyman is a threat and Trump has to take it out. Even though last summer in June, Trump said he already took care of it. And of course, we're back at it, and we see the supply chain being rearranged. That's what this is all about. We're in a fragmented world. You have to break up everything in order to bring in this fourth industrial revolution. And even though Trump didn't say anything new, that algorithm started to drive down stock futures. And with the drums are beaten, we have oil has went up 40 and 50%. And who pays for that? That's right, the consumer, because eventually it's get passed down to the products and then it goes to the consumer. Just in time to eat away at that tax money. You don't think the NWO knows this? Remember, guys, it is all planned. And we see the consumers are hurting. And they keep saying the United States is not in a recession. Remember, we've been in a recession since 2024. Is this a Fed holding things up? And when we look at the jobs market, who's hiring? That's right, small business. And majority of it is coming from medical. And we know the NWO has a solution for that. The machines are going to be taking majority of those jobs. And remember, we're in a service economy in the United States, and that was planned a long time ago because they knew the machines were about to take over. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Told everybody from the president on down that we should worry much more about diesel. And the diesel prices have risen more than the gasoline. We're having a hard time making enough diesel in the United States. And diesel is what will determine ultimately the increase in prices on food and on everything we buy on Amazon or any other retailer. It comes to us on a truck. And the trucks are having to pay that price. And remember, a lot of trucks with our products and farm products come from California, where the prices are over $6, or at $6 a gallon. That is, and diesel prices going over $7 and $8. So those are going to affect American consumers in the coming days and weeks. And I think next week is going to be that week where the shock in Asia to Europe starts playing out in the United States. And on a Monday and Tuesday, the president talks about negotiations. We've had that now for 2 weeks in a row. Monday, Tuesday is about negotiations. By Thursday, the market realizes there's no real negotiation. The idea of ending the war with the straits closed is not really ending the war. So we haven't been presented with anything except for vague talk about an end of war. We don't know how this war ends yet. And as we sit here Tuesday, we're no different than we were last Tuesday. And it's just discussion of it. It's managing the markets. So I think from the market perspective, we're still underpricing oil. We are underpricing economic impacts of this energy shock.
Talking about this. The low-income consumer has been in and out of recession. The first recession they went to was when they worked through the excess savings that had been built up during COVID from the stimulus and not being able to spend income. So they've been in and out of recession. Luckily, wage growth has, at least for a time, been outpacing inflation. But the wealthy consumer, we don't need the wealthy consumer to just stop spending. It's slowing spending. And of course, if you've already met a lot of pent-up demand, you've been out there spending for years now with this amazing run-up in financial assets, you're sitting on a lot of equity in your home, but you're not seeing further gains, it can cause you to pull back on spending. And that's all it takes.
Let me get Good morning, Becky. 62,000 from ADP, a bit above estimates. Total payrolls coming in the private sector versus 39,000 was the estimate. February. Look at what happened here, though, folks. A small business, which has been under a little bit of pressure, surging ahead this month, up 85,000. Not so good on the medium and large businesses side, both of which were negative. Looking at by industry, there's the education health services, still the leader in terms of creating jobs in this country.
Present, we've seen 2 consecutive months of pretty steady job growth, but most of it has been in healthcare. And that's really the story. Healthcare is transforming the labor market. For the past 2 years, 3 out of every 4 jobs created in this country, this is state-level tax data I'm referencing, came from the education and healthcare sector. So is that the economy that pushes growth forward is the question, because a lot of these jobs, Becky, are low-paying home health care aides jobs. They are not the full-time, full benefits 401k jobs that help support consumer spending.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room, and drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And, perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI, we're kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
I think stablecoins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stablecoins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the US dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks. It's coming. And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. Most powerful person in the world. is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.